Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Leo Chase Mythmaster here to review two custom characters made by two friends of mine whose channels will be linked in the description. Names are Hound and the Artist. I asked them to decide between a set of characters and then make a custom character, or the same custom character out of those lists, out of that list, for me to compare. They both chose Toad. First up, we have Hound's submission. So Hound thinks that Toad should be a strategist. This from Marvel Rivals, by the way, which it should probably say in the title. Hound thinks that Toad should be a 250 HP strategist, and he's even recommended a voice actor, who I have no idea who that is. So Toad's primary fire be a tongue strike, so it'd be a close range tongue strike to hit nearby enemies. So probably just kind of a small sweep in front of you, or kind of jab. But then his secondary fire would be a tongue snipe. So fire a tongue full distance in straight line where you aim. Yes, this would definitely be a jab, dealing ranged damage but requiring precision. Yeah, those seem like both like things they would applicable, realistic abilities for it to have. His ability 1 is an amphibious leap with 2 charges and 3 seconds per leap recharge, where you just jump in desired direction, and he even says it can be used to get to desired locations or to quickly disengage. I think this also makes sense, and because he's given him 3 abilities, this would probably be on, probably like a kind of double tap jump, I think. His second ability is Reflexive Puddle, 12-second cooldown, and you fire a bubble that will pop on contact with a structure and leave gooey residue around it, killing all allies, which fits from being a strategist, who make contact, and slowing enemy movement speed. Also, it doesn't do damage, interestingly, and it says slows them, which also fits with being a strategist, and I think, well, it's an interesting mechanic. And puddle stays for about 40, okay. So, stays for 45 seconds, and has a 12-second cooldown, which means you can get quite a few of those puddles on at a time. It's kind of like 3, 4, just doing some quick maths. Then ability 3, tongue pull, 8-second cooldown. Fire tongue in direction aimed. If it makes contact with an enemy or ally, pull them towards you, okay, enemy or ally, and breaks contact if either a shot or being pulled or pulling. So a disruption ability, but also basically both ability 2 and 3 are disruption but also helpful. I'm sure this could be, I'm not sure you'd be able to move while doing this, but this would definitely be annoying and also helpful, but also could be annoying for allies because you could pull them out of where they want to be, for example. But on the other hand, you could save them. But it can break contact, so I think having a slightly low cooldown works for that. And then passive ability, sticky surfaces, can stick to walls and crawl on them. And then ultimate, toxic wasteland, giant glob of goo, good alliteration, popping on contact with something, a bit like his bubble, dealing acidic damage on contacts in a large radius, acid over nearby terrain, damage over time, and stays for 30 seconds. His abilities have quite a long impact, and this would definitely be area control, as would, so in general he's going to be an area control kind of guy. And then team up ability, Amphibious Evolution. So members, Toad and Storm. I was told why it was those two, and I think I would have been able to work it out. But it's because in the first X-Men movie, it has an infamous line. Do you know what happens to Toad when it gets struck by lightning? The same thing that happens to everything else. So, being the anchor, Storm gets a 10% damage boost having Toad as an ally, but Toad gets a new ability, Acidic Voltage. So, basically, Storm electrifies his tongue, meaning that, yeah, unleashes a zapping volt of electricity from your tongue, hitting an enemy if aimed properly, and, okay, I like this, if they're in any of the goo or bubble patches, it chains. Okay, I think that's a very good utility and ties what's been done so far together very nicely. And recommended combo because if you didn't know, in Marvel Rivals, when you look at characters, it gives you a recommended combo. Use Toad's wall crawl to stick to hard to access locations. Uses bubbles and goo to create terrain and zone out enemy teams, making it hard for them to escape. Use it to create a healing zone for your allies. When an ally is in a pinch, board on safety, or grab a fleeing enemy and pull them into your team for a quick KO. And also I just realised the tongue pull could also be used to pull an enemy into the goo or bubbles, which means if you have a storm in your team, you can pull an enemy in, then electrocute them, and then chain it, which would all be a very good combo. Now to review the artist's submission for what he thinks Toad should be like in Marvel Rivals. First thing, he did a diagram which is one thing, like basically, which is good. I'm not saying like, it's not that Hound isn't, but it's just a good thing to see it all together. But that probably won't affect the overall judging work. So I'm looking at the abilities, not presentation. But yeah, and then in this case, Toad is a duelist, but still has 250 HP because that's the basic health. And his attack is a tongue strike. If you're wondering why it looks like this, it's because it was sent in Discord and then I just copied it across. So yeah. His attack left mouse button says fire is a tongue strike, so it works as melee and far ranged. It can strike many enemies if in proximity to each other. So I'm guessing it'd just kind of be a mid-range kind of swipe. It does knockback and knock down on critical hits and recharge on ultimate. Which means I'm guessing that it probably has quite a slow rate of fire because of all of its additional abilities. So I'm wondering how else he'll be able to do damage and stuff. 2 passives, so like Spider-Man he can crawl vertical, so this is, yeah, I think it's kind of a no-brainer with Toad. And this time for he has a jump ability, so you can jump to big heights to avoid attacks as well as surprise attacks, and it's called high jump. And on the kind of diagram it says can jump to huge extents both horizontally and vertically. So okay, also it says for wall crawl. If you press space to crawl on walls and hold to run on them. But yeah, and then for the jumps, I'm guessing it would be if you're moving forwards, then it jumps you forwards. But if you're not moving in any direction, then you just jump straight up. So it seems to have a bit more like, it didn't have a cooldown of that. So, or it could just be that normally the normal jump is just enhanced. Ultimate is next. So a hot tongue. Because yeah, I've heard that Toad at one point did have a flaming tongue with comics or something. Yeah, so use it to surround enemies with explosive acidic fires with burning blinds, another crowd control ability. So it blazes up, leaving trails of hot acidic flames where it touches constantly splash and burst. So overtime damage and leave basically zone control with doing lots of damage, similar to Toxic Wasteland. Then the abilities, it says just here. So sticky, right mouse button, marshmallow symbol, very creative. 3-second cooldown. So you hit an enemy or an object with your tongue and stick to it, and then you can click the button again to throw it. Okay, this is fun. So both of them have gone for quite crowd control, which I do think fits the character, and both have gone for quite low health, which also I think fits. And then so it deals full damage to the target, and if you throw something and then it hits an enemy, it damages the enemy which is hit. And 3-second cooldown, but that probably starts once you've thrown it, I'm guessing, because otherwise he could just be throwing left, right and centre. And then acid attack, 5-second cooldown, For a splash of acid on target, but burn and blind. Okay, for 2 seconds. Not so. If this turns the screen kind of black, that's probably a bit very overpowered. If it's like Mario Kart and the ink, where it just kind of partially covers the screen, I think that's like a bit more viable. And then if it just blurs it a bit, yeah, not sure how that would work. And collects in a pool that can damage. So also, if it doesn't hit someone, it makes the pool. So with seeming as they might have communicated, but they both have gone for similar things where crowd control, goo, ultimate of zone control. Yep. But then his team up is with Magneto, and after Magneto is his metal bulwark, which is when he kind of shoots all his charges. I think Toad will kind of spit acid at it, which will mean that when the metal bulwark lands, or basically he goes to metal bulwark and acid, which means that when it lands, it also splashes off in acid damage. So I think while the Hound team up is very fun in terms of interactions between Toad and Sonic movies, I like this one a bit more because Toad is always a bit of a lackey in my opinion. And like, I don't see him as he's not a coward, but yeah, he's nearly always seen with Magneto in a team. So I think this kind of him assisting his leader works well thematically. Suggested combos. So there's 2 ones here. So one which is the repositioning, lots of things with sticky, and then using acid attack. So it's throwing an enemy into one enemy, and doing goo on both of them. Which is similar like how I suggested with tongue polar for goo in the other one. And acid rain, so you jump higher and then. So I think this could kind of not be either. Okay, acid rain. So use Toad's high jump as acid attack to create acid rain, which causes splash damage and blinding. This could just be kind of like saying that when he jumps and then it's a light acid rain, or it could just be saying that when you are doing the jump, then a slightly different ability happens. I think I'm overthinking it, and it just is meaning that when you jump up, you can just shoot down on them and blind them. Now, quite a few months after recording that original part of the video, I'll be basically saying my favourite parts and what I prefer from each of them. So, also, as you've probably noticed, I think there's a delay, so sorry about that. For Hound, in my opinion, I think like Toad should be a strategist. So I think that, so I like that about Hound's one. And his leap just being a charge and having multiple charges and short cooldown works well. For Artist, I really like his sticky ability. And while the Storm team up is fun, I think that I like the Brotherhood team up a bit more. They both have kind of similar attacks and they both have goo puddle and stuff. But see, I'm honestly not sure which one I like more. But if you made this far, thank you for watching and have a very good day. Ta-ta.